Rev up your engines!
Next question. Have you seen any problems with Hellcats? Well, yeah. Most of it has to do with the drivers. They wrap them around trees. They smash them up. They have so much horsepower. And the guys that buy a vehicle like that are going to drive like maniacs. Now, they do have an extremely powerful V8 engine, which is a tremendous gas hog. And some guys just rev them too high, and I've seen them blow. Any engine is going to blow if you redline it the whole time. Slam it into different gears, do burnouts, you know. You're going to wear an engine out. It's just anything wears out eventually. And the faster you drive it, the faster it's going to wear out. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of horsepower out of those things. The main problem is they're over horsepowered, and younger kids driving them, it's like a death wish or something like that, because they're easy to flip over. They got way too much horsepower. And if people are driving them and they turn off the traction control, doubly so. Ranmo says, what brands are best and worst for brake pads and rotors? I got 2017 Chevy Cruze. The Akabono pads, if you can get them, are the best. They're the quietest. They last the longest. They don't wear things out. They're the most expensive, but they are the best. Rotors, unless you're buying the cheapest Chinese rotors, the rotors for a little car like that, it's not going to really matter what you buy. You go like AutoZone, buy their quality rotors. They got good ones and they got cheap ones. Don't buy the cheap ones, buy the more expensive ones. And that would be perfectly fine for that little bitty car. Doesn't weigh that much. It isn't that much strain on it. If you're getting into high expensive cars, then you're talking about getting Brembos and super expensive parts. But on that, nah. If you can get Akabono pads, get them. If not, get the original equipment pads and rotors. It doesn't really matter as long as they're not the cheap Chinese ones. Hey, Rich says, greetings from Rochester, New York. My local Hyundai dealership just doubled their warranty. Comes with 20 years to 200,000 miles. They probably know Korean cars don't last. Yeah, and just see what the warranty actually covers. There's disclaimers. It's all written by lawyers and insurance companies. They'll say, drivetrain warranty. Well, what's the drivetrain? I had one guy, the guy paid for an extended warranty. The head gasket of the engine blew, right? They said, that's not covered under the warranty. It's like, that's the powertrain, it's the engine. But it's the gasket. Read the fine print. Does not count gaskets that go bad. So, warranties and what people say, you might as well be whistling Dixie. It might mean nothing at all. The best thing to do is buy a Toyota or a Honda. Who cares what the warranty is if they're well made? Than to buy a crappy Korean car that has this 200,000 mile warranty, but then when things break, so sorry, it's not fixed under the warranty. Oh, you got to pay. Seb's time said, Scotty, I'm looking at an 04 Honda Element with 150,000 miles on Saturday. What should I look for? If it's an automatic transmission, see how it shifts. The weakest point of the Honda Elements are automatic transmissions. If it's a standard, you don't have to worry about it. Then just drive it hard and see if the clutch slips, meaning it's going to need a clutch. And that's a relatively expensive job. Other than that, bring a scan tool and see if there's any codes, any kind of problems. Or if you got a mechanic come with you, he'll bring his scan tool to check. You can't trust people. Could be wrecked, flooded, stolen, but the main thing on those is the automatic transmission is the weakest element of the element. So check that out when you're road testing. Mason Piepenbrock says, our 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee L makes a knocking helicopter noise when I accelerate in hot weather. It shouldn't be making noises when you accelerate. And if it's making a noise when you accelerate, first thing you got to do, isolate the noise. Is it coming from the engine? Or is it coming from the transmission? Or is it coming from the wheels? Watch my video, Finding the Source of Car Noises, Scotty. Type that into YouTube. The video will come up. You can buy devices like that for as cheap as $89 on Amazon. They have newer Chinese-made ones that work fine. Instead of being wireless, they have wires you plug in. You put the sending units, different parts of the car, then you hear where the noise is coming from. If it's coming from the engine, could be the fan belt system's driving. If it's coming from the transmission, that's horrible news. That means the inside of the transmission is starting to break down. And if it comes from the wheels, it could mean that you need a wheel bearing. But you got to isolate the sound first. Alex Austin said, Scotty, my 2018 Camry blows out bad fumes when I turn on the AC for 30 seconds. Then it goes back to normal. Any solutions? You got mold and bacteria growing in there, right? Mold and bacteria like two things. They like nice, damp, moist, dark places. The inside of your dash where your AC evaporator is just that. So what you can do is roll the windows down, put it on full blast outside AC, then go outside the car, get some Lysol, spray it on the intakes under the windshield wipers. You'll hear air being sucked in. You can feel it with your hands. That's the intake. Spray half a can of Lysol, then let it soak overnight. That'll kill all the mold and bacteria. Now it comes back because, mold and bacteria, they breed like mad. There's one, and next thing you know, there's 10 million of them. So you got to do it every once in a while. But the Lysol will kill them and get rid of it. And do it every once in a while. And leave the windows rolled down so overnight it airs your car out. As it usually says, says on the Lysol cans has been shown to cause cancer in the state of California. I don't know about other states, but for some weird reason it sticks that on it. Mr. Smile says, any opinions on an '06 V6 Saturn VUE with a Honda engine and a transmission of 140,000 miles? Honda made the engines for a while for Saturn, just the V6 engines. But then they had a big fight with GM, and GM said, we're going to use our GM Dexcool coolant in our cars. And we don't care that you're giving us Honda engines that are supposed to take a Honda coolant. We're using ours. So Honda said, we're not going to sell you any engines then, because ours are made for a different type of coolant. So then they don't make them anymore, right? They're excellent engines. They're Honda engines. Now, they are in Saturns, and they were kind of cheaply made cars. They failed. They started out with an idea, but then they kept making them cheaper, and GM owned the company, even though they called it Saturn. And GM kind of glued them to the walls, and they were like taking their workers away and then giving them workers from another factory because they felt jealous that people like the Saturns better. Bizarro people in corporations, right? A bunch of lunatics, chickens with their head cut off running around, right? Not the greatest cars, but it is a Honda engine. And if it was still in decent running shape, don't overpay. They don't make them anymore. And it's kind of hard to get parts for some of the things. So, but they can be a fun knockaround car if you get one cheap enough. Gordon says, Scotty, I have real rusted and corroded bolts on my entire exhaust system. I have a gigantic leak in a front flex pipe. Do you think heat wrap will fix it if I lay it enough? No. Flex pipe is what it says. It's usually some type of stainless steel. It flexes as the engine starts and moves and accelerates and jerks. You can't have a solid piece that has to flex. Titanium wrap is solid. It's not going to flex, and it would eventually break. I mean, you could try this alternative to replacing the thing. But realize this. Anybody with a torch can cut them off, and they make universal flex pipes, and you'd weld them back on. Find a good welder to fix it, because you can't fix that stuff. You know, it's rusted away. You got to replace it, right? I mean, if you want to be cheap and try to wrap it, go ahead, but it takes a lot of strain, and whatever you put in there, it's going to come off, rip, crack, break, whatever. Andres Steele says, Scotty, I got an '07 Honda Accord 2.4 liter. When I turn my AC on, when I'm in drive, the idling makes my engine vibrate. What can it be the issue? Well, it can be a zillion things. Needs a tune-up, motor mounts are gone, transmission mounts are gone, but if it idles perfectly fine until you turn the AC on, odds are your AC compressor is starting to wear out, and it is totally typical in Hondas. When it strains the engine too much, it'll make it idle bad and shake. On a highway, it doesn't do anything because your engine's going 3,000 RPMs, and that little extra strain isn't going to hurt anything. But if it runs perfectly fine, you got no check engine light, no codes, and it only starts vibrating when you turn the AC on, odds are your AC compressor is starting to wear out, or you have some problem in the system like a clogged expansion valve that's building up too much pressure. Then there's too much pressure, so the compressor strains too much, takes too much energy from the engine, and it makes it shake and idle. Nihao says, hey, what's your impression of the new Mazda CX-90? It's their first 6-cylinder inline engine. They're relatively expensive. I wouldn't spend that kind of money on a car myself. It's more of an enthusiast car. Somebody wants to spend money for a little fancier, a little zippier car. Me, I'd get a smaller one. I'd get something like a RAV4, CRV, you know. I'm not a big Mazda fan, but it's very interesting technology. Now, it is new, so who knows how it's going to hold up over time. Barack says, Scotty, what's your thoughts on the new Acura Integra Type S? It has the same engine and tranny as the Civic R, but more comfortable seats. I was totally disappointed by the Acura Integra when they brought it, in quotations, back, because it was just a Honda Civic and you paid too much money for it, right? Integra Type S, like the Type R Civic, looks like it'll ride better. The problem with the Civic Type R is it rides like crap. It's a race car. It's fun, zoom, but it rides horrible. My wife got in one. She said, don't ever put me in another one of these things. It rides like a brush bucket. If the Acura Integra Type S rides better, yeah, it'd be a good sales point for Honda. Same engine and tranny and stuff. It'd be real zippy. I wasn't impressed by the regular Acura Integra at all because it was just a rebadged Civic. It had nothing to do with the original Acura Integra that was kind of a radical small sporty car. Astor says, Scotty, who makes the best tools? I'm Team Milwaukee. There are a million tool companies out there. Now, if you look closely, you see that most of the stuff ends up being made in China, regardless of who it is. Now, I use all kinds of different tools. People send me new ones and I try out, see if they're any good or not. I would stay away from the absolute cheapest ones that are made in China and India because they're junk. From my experience, if I see a branded tool has a good price, it's in the area near me where I can buy it, that's what I get. Because the good ones come with a lifetime warranty. So if it breaks, I just go in and I get another one, right? That only makes common sense. Now, I used to have Sears ratchets, right? Because they had a lifetime warranty. Well, the Sears are all gone. And then eventually they gave up with a lifetime warranty because, of course, everything breaks out eventually. So, you know, so now I'm going to buy a ratchet. I'll probably just go to AutoZone, right? I'll buy one of theirs. They have decent ones. They're Duralast. It comes with a lifetime warranty. If it breaks, I'll just go down the street and pick up another one. So you don't care if it's not the absolute highest quality if you get another one free and it's just down the street. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.